if there is no action behind it. And here's the secret about action. It can be dangerous or pointless when driven with fear. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys don't remember anything else that I shared with you, I need you to hear me when I say failure is an illusion, and fear is only meant to hold you back. Repeat after me. Failure is an illusion.
Failure is an illusion.
And fear is only meant to hold you back.
And fear is only meant to hold you back.
Excellent. Now here's my story. So it was the weekend before I went to college, and my dad took me out to dinner. And my dad is someone who I have intellectual conversations with on a regular basis. And so I said to my dad, Daddy, I am terrified of failure. And I thought that this would be the best time to bring it up because I'm about to go to college. And college is where you go to make things happen for yourself. But nothing was going to happen to me because I ran from every opportunity presented to me. I was so afraid of failure that my best friends, people who I claimed to know everything about me, did not even know I had talents. But when it's time to turn up, they knew who to call. I was so afraid of failure that I would have never done a poetry slam because I did not want to broadcast my talents. I was so afraid of failure that every time an opportunity was presented, this little voice would talk to me and say, what if you lose? What will your friends think? Imagine all the people who are going to laugh at you. How embarrassed will you feel? How stupid will you look? What if you lose? And despite my potential, I never put action behind it. And so I said to my dad, Daddy, I am terrified of failure. And he said, no, you're not. And I'm like, how are you going to tell me what I'm afraid of? And my dad said, people who are afraid of failure never stop working. He said, people who are afraid of failure are afraid to know what it feels like to be at a standstill in life. People who are afraid of failure don't know what it feels like to not have money coming in. People who are afraid of failure do not stop working. He said, you're afraid of success. I said, why would I be afraid to succeed? He said, I don't know. You need to ask yourself that. He said, but people who are afraid to succeed never even start. And so that stuck with me. And I went to my freshman year of college. And I was sitting on my bed and I got a knock at the door. And I went to go see who it was. And lo and behold, it was Marvin. And Marvin had a piece of paper in his hand. And this paper said, ASA pageant. And Marvin said, are you going to sign up? And I said, I'm going to think about it. And I did think about it. And I realized I had the potential to win this thing. Second piece of advice, know your strengths and know your weaknesses. My biggest weakness is procrastination. Okay, so I placed a piece of paper on the desk. And that is where it stayed for some days and days and days until finally it was the last day to register. And I knew it was the last day to register. And I wanted to be in this pageant because I had the potential to win. But this little voice came in my head and said, what if you lose? What will your friends think? Imagine all the people who are going to laugh at you. How embarrassed will you feel? How stupid will you look? What if you lose? And so I attended that pageant in the audience. And despite my potential, I did not put action behind it. And I watched someone else win. Congratulations, Nina. And although I was happy for her, I remember sitting in the audience and thinking, damn, that could have been me. And it was in that audience that I noticed a pattern in my life. Damn, that could have been me became the lyrics of my existence. That is how I always felt. Even in high school, when the teacher had a question and I had the potential to be right, but she answered in my head with the fear of being wrong, and someone else would take my opportunity and raise their hand and say exactly what I was thinking, and I would think, damn, that could have been me. I was that little girl who sat in my room with dreams larger than life, and I always wondered, when will my turn come? When will they notice me? But it was never going to come because I always ran from that opportunity. And I always listened to that voice, and it was louder than my desire to be great. And so I came across this self-help book. And it is now my favorite self-help book, and I highly recommend it. It is called The Best Advice I Ever Got by Katie Couric. And in this book, it is full of successful and rich people, and they give their best advice. And I came across this page that has never left me since and has changed my life. It said, be not afraid. Fear is what stunts our growth, narrows our ambitions, and kills our dreams. So fear not. On this same page it said, do what you are afraid to do. Repeat after me, do what you are afraid to do.
Do what you are afraid to do.
That is the last piece of advice I'm going to leave you with.
Okay.
So I went to my sophomore year. And I'm sitting on the bed, and I get a knock at the door. And I open the door, and lo and behold, it's Marvin. And Marvin has a piece of paper in his hand. It says ASA pageant. And I take the paper, and I stare at it. And I ask myself, are you afraid to do this? And my answer was, hell yes, I am terrified to do this. And so I signed up. Do what you're afraid to do. The one thing about me is I'm not a quitter. I knew that once I signed my name to it, I was not going to back out no matter how afraid I was. It was a one-way ticket now. And so I dedicated myself to that pageant. I went to every single practice, and I think I was the only girl who never missed one. I woke up every morning and looked in the mirror. Mind you, pageant practice started months before. I looked in the mirror and said, my name is Imani Adrea, and I am Miss ASA. On the last day before pageant, it was a party, Later Lane. This is the party that my school throws and everybody attends. Pageant practice is usually 3 hours long. Today it was 1 hour long. And then you can go to the party. Or you can stay at practice and get more practice. All my female competition said, you know what? We've been practicing for months. I think whatever I know today, I'm going to know tomorrow. And they went to that party. I saw that as an opportunity. If all y'all go to that party and I stay at practice, I'm going to be one step ahead of y'all. So that party didn't know me. And ladies and gentlemen, my name is Imani Adrea, and I am Miss ASA. And let me quickly share the moral, just so we're all on the same page. Failure is an illusion, and fear is only meant to hold you back. Somebody's probably thinking, but you didn't fail, you won the competition. Okay, let's say I did fail the competition. Let me tell you how I won. I gained a new experience. Opportunity makes more opportunity. No matter what happens, you grow as a person. I gained an epiphany. Do what you're afraid to do. My life has not been the same since. It's because of that passion that I know that. If you grow as a person, you do not fail. The only time you fail is when you don't try or when you quit because it's too hard or you're afraid. Sometimes in life, we set a path for ourselves, and when it doesn't go as planned, we tell ourselves we failed. But you gained an experience. You did not fail. In a navigation system, when it says go right and you accidentally go left, what happens? It says make a U-turn, which means go back and try again. Or it says rerouting, which means, okay, the original plan did not go as we planned, but the path that you took will take you to the same destination. And it may take a little bit longer, and there may be traffic, but you're going to meet some people, and you're going to learn some things, and you're going to still get there. Failure is an illusion. Fear is only meant to hold you back. Okay, I'm going to introduce my poem. Sorry.
I didn't do it on purpose. Like, you would think people would have came in and sat in the same seats, but they didn't.
Okay.
And somebody snatched the whole seat up and walked inside.
Okay, so anybody who knows me knows that I have dreams of becoming the next Oprah. It is something I've been saying my entire life. But whenever I say that, I get more laughs than support. And that's okay. I realize that is okay because no one knows me how I know me. No one knows you how you know you. They don't know my potential. They don't know the action I put behind my potential. They mostly do not know my vision. I've learned how to silence laughter. You have to visualize yourself already in the position you want to be in so clearly that it is almost like you're looking into the future. So when they're laughing at me, I'm laughing at them because the only one ignorant to my future is the person laughing. And so this poem is me writing as if I already made it, and I'm laughing at you. This poem was in my phone, which means it's unedited and I wasn't meant to share it. And that's because I was afraid of it. I came here to share a breakup poem, but I had to reevaluate the name of this event, Undiscovered Art. And that voice came in my head and said, what if you lose? But this time I silenced it and said, Imani, are you going to be afraid or are you going to perfect it? Are you going to be afraid or are you going to perfect it? And whenever y'all hear that voice, I want you to say, are you going to be afraid or are you going to perfect it? and I said I'm going to perfect it. So this poem is called 1 in a Million. And I want to define one word, a eulogy. It is a speech written for someone who has recently passed away. So 1 in a million. I'm grinding for that check, wanting nothing but respect. Some people owe apologies for all the bad analogies and all the false hypotheses from those who doubted me. Hear my philosophy. There are too many eulogies for both young and old. So who am I? Who am I not to dream and be bold? Junior died unexpectedly. What a tragedy. Me versus negativity. But I'ma win this fight. And karma wasn't right for taking your dear life. Tomorrow is not promised. I am not dishonest. More like unpredictable, and in general, life is just too short. But they gon' know my name once I hold all this fame. They gon' know my name once I hold all this fame. They gon' know my name once I hold all this fame. I figured if I say it enough, even if it's tough, it'll come. Right? Fuck them. I wasn't born to impress or live how you suggest. And I just won't suppress my desire or dreams. And yeah, people talk shit until they see that green hanging out my pocket, so I'll pop, lock, and drop my success. All on your face. Oh, I had to become important to gain your attention. Something like religion. Did I forget to mention you a bit too late? I got food on my plate. I'm rich, bitch. Rich in the mind and gold in my heart. And someday I'm gonna be wealthy and smart. But I won't throw shade, cause this is my parade. I'll forgive them for the taunts. I'ma give them what they want. Want me to forget when they laugh for believing in my craft? Cause I used to be the girl who only worked for blunts. Now I'm so blunt cause I'm boss of my city. No more crying. I'm not hiding and I don't need your pity. No need to bite my tongue. Guys who moved on are now so sprung like, you know, I always knew you would make it. Yeah, right, boy, please. And my name ring bells. My name ring bells. They heard I was coming, so all I hear are them yells. My name ring bells. Bells that only rich people ring. My name in songs. My name in songs. Saw my success on TV, and now my name in songs. Songs that only people with visions can sing. They told me I wasn't capable of achieving. But fear breeds words that are stupid, misleading. They told me it's a 1 in a million chance, and that's why I walk with the prance, because I guess I'm just one lucky motherfucker then.
Okay.
Sleeping on your God-given abilities. So you mistakenly expected mediocrity from me too? There is only one little man in this picture, and it is not me, but you. Thank you.